especially in light of great global political change. I'm talking about the evacuations that are happening in Afghanistan. And here's the article in the student newspaper that kind of led me to think about this. And the headline on page 3 of the Daily Athenaeum is "Go to school or go home. Pandemic put international students in a bind." So it's not just me who's thinking about this. It's the students of West Virginia University are starting to hear stories from fellow students who happen to be from abroad in terms of how they're being treated during this time. So here is a photograph of a student and WVU resident assistant and biomedical engineering major, Mahi Mekkonen. See Mahi Mekkonen. And allow me to read the first paragraph. It's been 3 years since Mahi Mekkonen, a WVU senior, last saw her family in Ethiopia. Since then, the only connection she's had with her parents has been through a screen. She says, quote, "I grew up in a very big family, so it's really hard." Mekkonen said, it was an emotional roller coaster. When the university initially made its transition to online classes in the spring of 2019, following the global outbreak of COVID-19, many international students yearned to go home. But in an effort to prevent the spread, Henry Oliver, director of global advancement, said his department advised those students not to return home. In some cases, students were permitted to travel overseas upon approval from the Department of Homeland Security, but many couldn't due to international travel restrictions. So this article is talking about the students who were stuck here and could not travel abroad due to restrictions from Homeland Security. So, I mean, it's an interesting story. It could be like an entire series. I mean, how did you get through COVID-19 pandemic when your family is miles and miles away? It's a story a lot of academics, quite frankly, even domestic academics like myself can relate to. You know, not everyone has family close. Sometimes circumstances like job circumstances keep people apart. So I think about the academics who cannot work in environments where their safety is not prioritized or where safety is not given a consideration. I think about students who find it difficult to study under certain conditions, including fluorescent lighting, and that's a whole nother topic. So are we at the point of a renaissance in terms of architecture? Will we be able to make learning outdoors more accessible? Will we also accommodate the needs of not just our students, but their families? Will we recognize that it is important for students to spend quality time with their loved ones and their guardians? Do we have an adage that says, when you educate one, you educate all? So students who are getting an education, in some cultures, the effort to get an education is not lost on an individual. the effort to get an education is seen as an act that enhances the community. I will never forget when I came home from my studies most recently. This was about 6 years ago. I was in a grocery store and there was a little old lady at the checkout. She's delightful. She had a stack of salt and pepper hair swooped up. And she saw my t-shirt, which advertised the name of a politician, former president. And she said to me, "You have to do something to help all of us." So I thought about that. I'm like, wow, why would she think that just because I am wearing this t-shirt of President Obama, that I wouldn't be interested in helping everyone? Okay. We can talk about what politicians do and whether or not the role of the politician is to help everyone. That's a different conversation. But in general, we think of presidents as apolitical once they become elected to the highest office in the land, and that they are trying to look out for the best interests of the American people. Now, again, we can talk about this nation being built on land that was taken from others. That's again another conversation that's equally important to have. But I want to get back to this clerk who said you have to help all of us. And I think that our students are very forthright in adapting to change. They've shown us how knowledge can be acquired at home via Zoom, as well as in the classroom. In other words, we do learn together, that we learn best together socially, but it's just not always possible to be physically in the same location, but we can be virtually in the same location and still learn. Our older folks who are living on fixed incomes absolutely deserve some of the benefits, or all the benefits, the good parts of our virtual society, a society that allows people to receive food delivered to their doorstep. You can also get help with your lawn, your house care via app. There are still going to be people who will not use an app, of course, or a smartphone. But maybe that's where our elected officials can help get services to people who need them, and also do a little bit of forecasting and anticipating the kinds of needs that people have before they know that they are in need. So that's called marketing. How can we help all of us? I think that anytime that you have retirees working in places where they might be exposed to pathogens that their system can't really deal with right now, I think it's important that we present them with alternatives. Nobody's saying that if you're a certain age that you should not work. That's just not some people, that's what keeps them going. And it's the socialization, it's the meeting others, it's the problem solving. So there's something very good about seeing people of different ages working together. And there's also something to be said for the idea of community centers, and when we have students who are isolated from their family members of all ages, we hope that some thought is being, like, we hope that administrators are thinking about their families. It's important because some people in education think that the goal is just getting accepted, being in the presence of professors who are different from other students, and so like that the student is some kind of has to be beneficial, has to be beneficent because they're in the presence of difference. I mean, what we're trying to do is build community, and we're trying to educate, and we're trying to ameliorate crisis, mitigate crisis. Are we expecting, though, that every student will ultimately go back home, as this headline is saying? Go to school or go home? Can you go back home? Can you go back home? Can you go back home? If we are in a crisis that is a public health crisis, I don't think any kind of like virus really says, hey, I know the difference between X person and Y person. And it's not the case that this particular ethnic group is going to be singled out by a virus. We're all susceptible to certain degrees. So we're all in it together. What does that look like? What kind of expectations does that offer? That is a very good question. And how do we survive? One way is by taking on a side hustle, which is what I have done as an educator. If you have any questions about how to enhance your kitchen cutlery, please reach out, contact me, because I would like to talk to you about this Cutco snack pack gift set that comes to you if you contact me. Inside you get product care guide, and this month's feature, something very special which you don't see every day. Perfect for sorority sisters who are deltas. Speaking of deltas, the red-handled Cutco cutlery. So I am an independent sales representative in addition to being an academic. And I sell cutlery manufactured in the United States, Olean, New York, to be specific. So if you are a fan of manufacturing that helps keep students enrolled in college through sales, then you will want to be on my call list. Reach out, contact me so that we can talk about how I can get a homemaker set, which is our full set of gourmet knives, chef knives, specialty knives. We do have other sets that are even bigger than the homemaker, which would be our Santoku. That's one of them. But if you contact me today with the purchase of one of our bigger sets, the Santoku, which is modeled on the Japanese Bocho style knife, this snack pack in a gift box can also be yours. So, talking about building community, talking about building not just being resilient, right, but creating a system where resiliency is not the fallback, where we don't have to brag or do the resiliency Olympics in order to thrive and survive. Okay, we can exist, we can be in harmony together, undifferentiated. The virus knows no borders. We can enhance our living spaces. We can update our cutlery. We can keep in touch with our friends and our family through Zoom, TikTok, Instagram Live, Facebook Live, Haps. If you like this broadcast and you want to see more, subscribe. Click on the coins. Download Haps. Start your own live cast. It's fun, it's simple, it's easy, and it's monetized. Something that people said couldn't be done back in the day is being done today. Stay safe and appreciate difference. Bye.